Journeys of Jane's railway transport, music and gaming news. Well people, how can I put this simply? It's back. Yes, it's time for the intro line of this series that keeps appearing and disappearing. Welcome to Journeys of Jane's railway transport, music and gaming news. And I see we have new theme music for the series. Great choice. Anyway, let's get started. And now we have some good news. The COVID disease is gone. It's not gone, you bird brain, it's just less of an issue. You know what I mean, my voiceover guy, so be quiet. Do not put me off. However, of course, since the pandemic ended, new problems have arisen. Cost of living crisis, rising energy prices, war with Russia and Ukraine. Don't even get me started on the national rail strikes. Wait, what? Oh, great. So this is now the problem that we have had to deal with for the past 7 months. Strikes on just about every single TOC in Great Britain, although not as much in Northern Ireland, so if there's anyone in that country watching this, then you are very lucky. Plus, TfL are still financially in trouble from the pandemic, but they should be recovering slowly but surely, as discussed in their new draft business plan to support London's recovery, announced in December. Eurostar is to stop running direct trains to Disneyland Paris in summer 2023. Oof. And also, I just want to pay my final respects to the Minecraft YouTuber Technoblade, who sadly lost his life to sarcoma in June 2022. We will never forget you, mate. In our first story, voiceover guy, I don't know what it says on the script. It looks like only some of the ink was printed off. Well, that's because I never put any more ink in the printer. And why not? Meh, I couldn't be bothered. You will be dealt with very seriously later. Anyway, first up, here is some stories about Avanti West Coast. Yep, the TOC has been facing a lot of difficulties in the past 7 months and now only have until October 2023 to get their act together. Due to staff shortages, there has been a massive reduction in services, including on their key routes from London to Birmingham and Manchester, where services decreased from 3 trains per hour to just 1, and plenty of services elsewhere were cancelled or severely disrupted. The former managing director of Avanti, Phil Whittingham, resigned in September 2022, but the problems carried on. However, the operator has been given a last chance to improve, and they are now trying to make progress by introducing more services, which came into effect on the 11th of December 2022. Avanti's service improvement plans include the successful delivery of its timetable recovery plan, a significant increase from about 180 trains per day to 264 trains per day on weekdays, as new and retrained drivers become available, continuing to deliver on its train crew recruitment, and extending booking options for passengers, making the full range of tickets available as early as possible. Well, I wish Avanti the best of luck to getting back on the rails again. Excuse the little pun I made. James, you do realise that because of how late you've left this video, that information is now invalid? Avanti have had, let's say, a re-extension of their franchise up to 2026, with a possible extension up to 2032. Well, that is great news, but I'm not wrong in saying they've had their 2022 troubles. Also, the first class 805 train for Avanti has been finished and is now on test runs. Brilliant stuff. Next up, the public body Great British Railways has been delayed. Yes, the new body which will oversee Britain's railways has been postponed from May 2024, and no official date has been announced as to when it will be legalised. The form was announced back in June 2021 by the then Transport Secretary Grant Shapps, who stated it will focus on bringing everything together and running a much more efficient service for customers. In July 2022, the DfT announced that the following places were announced to host the GBR headquarters: Birmingham, Crewe, Derby, Doncaster, Newcastle and York, and the winner is yet to be decided. Well, this is rather irritating to hear that GBR have been postponed, but at least hopefully there will be a progress in reform during its absence. Also, this is the official logo, which looks weird to say the least. A combination of the British flag and the National Rail logo? What are the chances? Also in the headlines is something I haven't properly discussed in any previous news videos, and that is regarding the Metro in Weir and Tyne. This dialogue makes me have questions. This network has been seeing a lot of events happening as of recent. Most importantly, the Metro Flow project. This major project involved dualling of 3 single-track sections between Peelaw and Bede and integrating a freight-only line into the network, similar to how the network runs between Peelaw and Sunderland, where it shares the line with National Rail services. This means that trains no longer have to wait for one another to pass over a certain section of single track, which could have potentially caused disruption to the rest of the network. Other benefits of this project include increased train frequencies to every 10 minutes, improving reliability and allowing for quicker recovery from disruptions, better support for major events in the area, and potential future expansion of the Metro network. As a result of this project, the depot at Howden, which was constructed in 2020 as a temporary rolling stock stabling facility, while the main depot at South Gosforth gets rebuilt, is now due to become permanent. The line between Peelaw and South Shields had a closure for a grand total of 13 weeks to allow for these complex works to be carried out. This began on the 12th of September and was originally due to end on the 4th of December, but was delayed by 10 days to allow the contractors to make final completions and safety inspections to the infrastructure, which, to be honest, isn't that big of a deal in my opinion. Anyway, fantastic work to everyone involved in the project, and the new tracks look great. Then, in August, the first of the new Class 555 Metro trains for the network were finished and began testing in Czech Republic, and are meant to arrive in the region fairly soon, and are supposed to enter service in autumn 2023. With the order now increased to a total of 46 trains, this makes it possible for an increase in frequencies. I hope nothing goes badly wrong, so that the trains can enter service on time, and not be like their sister rolling stock, the Class 777s, where they have had repeated delays. Also in the headlines is a subject which makes a return to the series: derailments. Really? Now there have been 2 major incidents in the last 3 months, so I'm just going to talk about them both and be done with it. We first had a rather major incident near Carlisle on the 19th of October, where a freight train derailed as it was crossing the bridge over the River Petteril just east of the station at approximately 8:05 in the evening, as it was carrying 14 cement wagons from Clitheroe to Carlisle. This resulted in both the Tyne Valley and Settleton Carlisle lines being shut until the beginning of December, while complex repairs to the bridge and track were carried out. No deaths or injuries were reported, but 5 of the wagons came off the rails, and 1 of them unfortunately ended up in the river. Serious damage was caused to the railway infrastructure, and the incident was reportedly caused by a wheel set with false flanges. Then there was another incident in Rutland, where a lorry crashed into a railway bridge near Ketton and caused significant damage to it. This incident occurred just over 2 weeks later on the 5th of November, shortly before 8 o'clock in the morning. The infrastructure needed to be replaced, which took until the 23rd of November to complete, and the driver of the lorry was taken to hospital. Oh. What? Oh dear. Well folks, the bridge got struck again a week after it was repaired. Goodness. Next in the news, Viva Rail have gone into administration. Oh my god. The company is at risk of being kicked out the business after appointing administrators at the end of November and went into administration on the 1st of December 2022. The same day, all of the Class 230s with London North Western Railway were withdrawn from service, and a replacement bus service operates on the Marston Vale line until further notice. Hang on a minute, Pacers don't operate with London North Western Railway. Oh my, voiceover guy, I said bus. But the Pacer is a bus. It's a train made from a bus, you idiot. Well, luckily for you, I have a picture of a bus right here. Why didn't you put that in the first time? Anyway, as I was saying, a replacement bus service operates on that line until further notice. This is such a pity, especially because the Class 230s for Transport for Wales have still not entered service, It's due to problems that Beaver Rail will not help with. Also, they're meant to start operating on the Greenford branch soon. I just hope nothing goes badly wrong. Also in the news, Grand Union has been authorised by the ORR at long last. The proposed operator has been looking to operate a service once every 2 hours between London and Wales since 2019, and in December 2022, the application was finally approved after a previous one, launched in May 2020, was rejected in February 2021. Services will operate from London Paddington to Carmarthen. On this route, there will be new bi-mode trains introduced, and services will call at the following stations: Bristol Parkway, Severn Tunnel Junction, Newport, Cardiff Central, Gowerton and Llanelli. These services will compete with the existing operator Great Western Railway and are due to commence in December 2024. Now, there is still no information regarding their London Euston to Stirling route, but I hope it doesn't start too long after the commencing of the London to Wales route. However, in some more sad news, the 14th of January marked the last of the Class 56s to operate. 2 locos went around the Midlands and North on a farewell tour, starting at Wembley Central, travelling up to Barrow Hill via Leicester, before heading around other locations in Yorkshire and back down to Peterborough. Then the tour finished back at Wembley Central. We will now take a minute to pay respects to these locos, as they did a wonderful job serving us. Well, some locos are being converted to Class 69s, so that is some good news. Also tonight, Class 395 trains with South Eastern are due to receive a refurbishment. The 29-strong fleet of South Eastern Javelins, which as you know already, were the first trains in the UK built by Hitachi and hold the record of being the fastest trains in the UK, besides Eurostar trains, and they are scheduled to receive a £27 million refurbishment carried out on them. This will include the trains receiving new interiors, USB sockets at seats, updated CCTV cameras, live passenger information screens, and LED lighting, which is very similar to the Electrostar refurbishment being carried out by GTR on their Class 377s and 387s. These upgrades are meant to be carried out at Ashford Depot and are to ensure the fleet continues to provide the passengers on High Speed 1 with a superior service. And from what I've heard, the first refurbished unit has already re-entered service. Having never been on one of these trains, I am really excited to see this refurbishment being carried out, and I hope everything goes accordingly. I really wish they would add a first class though. It would make them have a more premium feel to them. The Elizabeth line is fully open, at long last. Yes, trains are now carrying passengers through the Eastern Portal just after Stratford, and the Western Portal just after Paddington, as well as there now being a direct service all the way from Shenfield to Heathrow Airport. All of this following the opening of the central section between Abbeywood and Paddington on the 24th of May 2022. Which I find quite funny because that day was exactly 2.5 years since I started this channel. But anyway, moving on. Trains from Shenfield initially only ran as far as Paddington, but started running to Heathrow Terminal 5 from May 2023. Also, trains leaving Paddington westbound and arriving eastbound had to wait for up to 7 minutes before they could continue with their journey, but this also disappeared at the May 2023 timetable change. As well as that, there is now a service running 7 days a week, and there are now 24 trains per hour in the peak through the core section between Whitechapel and Paddington. Also, 2 weeks before the opening of both portals, Bond Street Station finally opened. This was the last station to properly open on the Elizabeth line, and it did so on the 24th of October, precisely 5 months after the opening of the central section. Prior to that, trains running between Tottenham Court Road and Paddington moved at a slow crawl until after passing through Bond Street. Then, when it opened, the trains moved at full speed and stopped at the station. As a result, there were no major impacts on the timetable, which is very pleasing, and I hope everyone is enjoying their ride on the line that is Crossrail. And to finish the main headlines, we have once again reached the end of a fantastic era. 4 fantastic eras in fact, as the Class 315s with Elizabeth Line, Class 321s with Greater Anglia, Class 313s with Southern, and HSTs with Cross Country have all been withdrawn from passenger service. The remaining Class 315s were withdrawn as a result of the rest of the 9-car Class 345s being able to enter passenger service. These trains finished passenger operation on the 9th of December, along with a farewell tour which took place a couple of weeks before that, which I actually went along to. All units have since been stored or scrapped, with 315856 being preserved. The farewell tour was organised by the Branch Line Society, and all profits from the event were donated to the Railway Children charity. What a great day it was. There were purple wristbands, and there was even a raffle, which I didn't win, but it was still cool to see. However, most importantly, these trains really served us well for 42 years, and it will never be the same without them. Then it was the turn of the Class 321s. These were the last trains to be withdrawn from passenger service with Greater Anglia, as their replacements continued to dominate the Great Eastern Main Line. The final day for these trains was the 3rd of April, and a farewell tour was held on the 29th of April, which raised £22,200 for charity, which is really impressive. We also had the Class 313s on the Southern Coastway services being withdrawn at the May 2023 timetable change, in favour of the Class 377-3s. The last day for these trains was the 19th of May, and a farewell tour was held on the same day as that of the Class 321s. The tour started and finished in Brighton, travelling via Portsmouth, Three Bridges and Oare. This event was also raising money for charity, and it raised a grand total of £75,000. The units doing the honours for this were 313213 and 313201, the latter of which was repainted into the classic British Rail livery. And while these trains were the oldest on the network at the time of retirement, they will certainly be missed by all of us. And of course, we have the cross-country HSTs, which saw their last day of passenger operation on the 18th of September, after a good old 40 years of service. The last scheduled service ran on that day between Plymouth and Leeds, and a farewell tour took place a week later on the 26th of September, because it'd be wrong for HSTs not to have one of those. The tour appropriately ran across the country from Leeds to Swanage and back again as the Pines Express, with an extra service before the return trip from Swanage to Bournemouth as the Bournemouth Bell. Note that this tour made a visit to the Swanage Railway, as well as passing through other places that had not seen HSTs for years. Prior to all that, 43207 was repainted into the classic Intercity 125 livery, as well as being renumbered back to 43007. And before you ask, no, the 007 has nothing to do with James Bond. Anyway, 43208 was also repainted into the Intercity Swallow livery, as well as being renumbered back to 43008. Both of these locos were the ones used for the last passenger service and the farewell tour, and that was the last time a HST would be seen in public service in both the Midlands and Yorkshire. Boy, I'm going to miss them very badly. And now it's time to pay our respects to these brilliant trains for the last time. Of course you had to ruin it by putting another train in there, my voiceover guy. The Class 317 finished operation in July 2022, okay? I know, but I'm still putting it in to take the mick. Oh, you. And we have now reached the end of the main headlines. Wow, we had a fair amount to cover again. Anyway, for some music news, the 2023 Eurovision Song Contest was held in Liverpool, which was the 67th edition to the song competition, and the winner was the Swedish singer Loreen with the song Tattoo. To celebrate this event, 350-104, 397-011 and 777-013 were all given eye-catching Eurovision liveries, with my personal favourite being 350-104's livery, which is also showing its support to Ukraine. In other news, Caledonian Sleeper have now been nationalised after Serco's contract with them ended in June 2023. As part of the Transpennine route upgrade, Stalybridge Junction was remodelled and the overhead wire masts have been put up in preparation for electrification of the station. Carstairs Junction on the West Coast Main Line was also remodelled in order to prevent conflicting movements through the station. West Midlands Railway launched their Class 196s into service. Finally, this happened on the 17th of October 2022, 2 years after when they were supposed to be introduced. And 4 weeks later, on the 14th of November, the first of the Class 197s for Transport for Wales also entered service. Now, when are the 701s for SWR entering traffic? Well, it seems that SWR have accepted 47 units, and they may enter service in December 2023. Let's hope that's true. 3 more trains have also entered service since then. Class 231s for Transport for Wales made their debut on the 18th of January. Class 77s for Merseyrail followed shortly afterwards on the 23rd of January. And just recently, Class 730s for West Midlands Railway also finally entered service. Note that these were the 3-car units, which are currently only operating out of London Euston, but will move over to the Cross City line once the 5-car units enter service as well. The order was also changed from 36 3-car sets to 48 3-car sets, and 45 5-car sets to 36 5-car sets. Cool. C2C Class 720s also entered service in September on peak hour services. A limited number of them are planned to work some off-peak services as well from December 2023. The core Valley lines in Wales are starting to be upgraded as part of the South Wales Metro scheme, and work to electrify the lines have also begun, with catenary masts and overhead wires being installed between Cardiff and Rhydyr. Sorry to all the Welsh people watching this if I've mispronounced that name. Great Western Railway abandoned their introduction of the Class 769, and all 19 units were handed back to Porterbrook in April 2023. That does not surprise me. They're about as pointless as the Class 701. Typical. Anyway, speaking of Great Western Railway, they will be withdrawing their Castle HST sets at some point in 2024. TransPennine Express was taken under public ownership in May after poor performance from First Group. They will also be withdrawing their Nova 3 sets at the December 2023 timetable change after cracks were found. Excellent. Another cracking problem. Fancy some more crackers, James? I'm alright, thanks my voiceover guy. Well, you're getting them anyway. Oh, you are something else. LNER is now 100 years old. To celebrate this, 801228 was named Century. 800-106 was also named You Belong to try and prevent more suicides from occurring. LNER also placed an order for 10 tri-mode trains, which will be built by CAF to replace the remaining Intercity 225 sets. These will be 10 cars in length and will be capable of diesel, electric and battery power, and are expected to enter service at some point in 2027. The following trains have now joined the LGBTQ+ community. 801226 was given a colourful streak and was named Together. 803003 was also given a pride livery, which makes it look less boring. 345055 is saying every journey matters, which is true, but I can't help but wonder why the livery is only on the driving cars. And 378205 is so colourful that it looks like it's been graffitied. And a happy very belated birthday to the London Underground, the oldest metro system in the world, which is now 160 years old. But who knows how much longer it will last considering TfL's financial debt. Oxford Railway Station is in the process of redevelopment, which will support increased freight and passenger services and bring faster journeys for passengers. Completion of this project is scheduled for 2024. More new stations have opened in 2023, so I'm just going to list them all in chronological order. Inverness Airport, Reading Green Park, Marsh Barton, Thanet Parkway, Portway Park and Ride and Headbolt Lane, which is now the new terminus for Northern and Merseyrail services. The following UK routes were added to Trains in World 3, the Edinburgh to Glasgow via Falkirk Line, the Midland Main Line from Leicester to Derby and Nottingham, and the Glossop Line, from Hadfield and Glossop to Manchester Piccadilly, plus the Class 700 was also added into the South Eastern High Speed, and Trains in World 4 was released, which features the East Coast Main Line containing the LNER Azuma and the Flying Scotsman. Nice. Chiltern Railway's parliamentary train from West Ealing to West Ruislip was withdrawn, with the last service running on the 7th of December. The service was replaced with a bus service, and Drayton Green has become the least used station in London. And lastly, since the reopening of the Dartmoor line in November 2021, over 250,000 passenger journeys have been made on the line and train frequencies were increased to hourly in May 2022. Don't get too excited, mind. Oakhampton Parkway hasn't opened yet. Voiceover guy, don't be so dumb. It will take more than a year for that station to be built, especially considering it is still being proposed. I don't care. I want it finished. Oh, stop it. And before I finish this, I would like to announce that I've recently just hired a transport man who we will be interviewing now. So, my transport man, how are you finding things here? Well, RIP to that computer I bought for him. And we have now reached the end of the video. Just quickly before I go, I'd like to say that I'm extremely sorry for not uploading in ages. My personal life really just got in the way. Nevertheless, I hope you enjoyed my return, and I hope I can make a video that's not so late again. Anyway, I will see you all very soon. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.